Oh, the interest of time and sanity. And these beams, which I realize now I should have just wrapped. Because what I'm doing, I don't know if it's going to split this summer when everything gets really hot. But I guess we're going to find out. But my intent was to level everything out to kind of reduce the view, or where you can see the boards. I want to eliminate that so it looked like a full wrapped beam. And they were so fucked. I took a planer to that one, which wasn't terrible, it just was a pain in the ass. And realizing all the lead dust that I was ingesting kind of stopped that. I mean, it's only another 24 feet worth, but so I started filling it with the Presto patch, the polymer infused patch, and kind of leveling it up. And in doing so, I put it on kind of thick, like a joint compound. And the more I did that, the more I read the directions, realized you can't put it on more than, you shouldn't put it on more than like a thin coat at a time, because when it does dry and it shrinks, it will split. So I've been just kind of layering it on. And there was one layer that I put on that I didn't pre-moisten the back. So when you put like concrete or drywall mud on drywall mud, like joint compound, a pre-mixed or a mixed is wet. And then when you put it on the dry surface, if the dry surface is really dry and porous, when you put the wet on it, the dry part sucks the moisture out of the wet kind of prematurely before it can cure and dry. So there's a lack of bond there. That's why when you do any kind of concrete patching or whatever, you want to kind of at least moisten the area that you're applying to. That way it doesn't, it gives it a bit of a time to cure instead of forced drying. So anyway, I have this little section here. And I realized yesterday while I was doing it, when the rain, it does rain up there. Well, when it blows in, it just kind of, it gets wet. Not saturated, I mean, not a full rain, but it gets wet enough to where it contacts moisture, which is fine. This stuff is, like I said, a polymer infused patching. But these corners are proving to be a bit of a challenge because of what I'm building on. I've patched corners before, where you take a piece of board or something straight, attach it to the adjacent side with a little bit of an overhang, and then you take your compound or whatever you're trying to fill and you run it across it, and it creates that edge. Well, this stuff is also like a bonding agent, so you have to take it off almost immediately. and you're left with this weird stippling. So instead of doing that, I did it a couple times, and just to build it up a little bit. So what I did is I took a trowel, a flat trowel, a flat finishing trowel. Used it as my edge, and then took my 6-inch or 5-inch, I don't know, 4-inch. Took my 4-inch and run across the corners, like doing an outside corner, or it's like doing an inside corner. So, and it's turning out better than trying to do the whole thing at once. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate just on a little bit, work with just a golf ball size bit of material, a little bit at a time, and move on. Instead of trying to do it all at once and then coming back and sanding it all at once, because honestly, it's a bit overwhelming. I want to concentrate on something on these sections and just build it up and work my way down. So that being said, I can sand all this down now, move on to this section, and finish tidying up those corners for the reveal. That'll help a lot. And then hopefully, since today's Saturday, it's supposed to be rainy all day, but it's going to be like this, just kind of wet, not blowing, pouring in, which I can handle. I can deal with that. And another reason why I'm doing it that way is because I don't want to drag out every single tarp I own. And then, if it works out today, I might be able to get it primed tomorrow or Monday, depending on how rainy it is. I really don't want to paint when it's blowing rain on it, or prime it when it's too wet. But the priming of the compound, that'll be all right because it'll soak right into it. Alright, so right now I have coffee brewing. Get some coffee, get some breakfast, come out here and do a little patchy patch, a little scrapey sand, a little touchy uppy. Move on, take a little bit at a time. That's where I think my frustrations were coming from, because I was trying to do too much at once, and it felt like an uphill climb. It was an uphill climb. It is, but it'll get there. So possibly today I might pull one of these pieces of masking down and see how it reacts, and see where I stand with that, because I may run around and hit it with the final, or with the trim paint. But again, I'll just drag one drop cloth around and just leapfrog it. But that way I can get the tape down. I have one spot up here where in the corner where it got a little away from the tape, because I almost fell. I mean, I did fall, but I didn't fall all the way. I stumbled. So that's progress. And even if it takes me all day to get that one column done, or one beam done in between the wall and the column, I'm going to call that a success, because the next column isn't as bad. There's some really, really bad spots, but it's not as bad on a whole. And the one that I hit with the belt sander or the planer is less bad. So it's moving along. And these are things that I'm the only person that's ever going to notice. God, I'm still tempted to wrap them. Put an outside corner. Get some outside corner trim. Into the quarter. Wrap the whole thing this way the front is, or the back is. Don't look at me like that. What do you think? What do you think, pussy puss? What do you think I should do? Show my butthole? So, God, let me go have a cup of coffee and see if that's something I want to do, because holy shit, I just might. I have a friend of mine who works in, who's a lumber supplier. If I would have known of, all this bits and pieces and shit, I would have got a hold of him a long time ago and opened an account, or just, I don't know. But these little onesie twosie things, I guess I'm thinking to do. Cup of coffee, maybe some breakfast. Alright, fuck off. I got shit to do.